So I took my mom to a new doctor yesterday, and before I left for New York, I really wanted to get this story out because I really think if you're a person of color or your parents are immigrants and speak with an accent, that this could potentially save your parents' life. There's a very real thing out there where patient care suffers from unconscious bias, almost like doctors don't realize that they are treating you almost subhuman, um, and a lack of empathy if there's a big cultural or racial difference between the patient and the doctor. This time last year, my father lost 30 pounds, and one of the first things you would do as a doctor is probably look for all signs of cancer. His doctor didn't do that, and it took me nagging my father from afar during COVID for 3 months, telling him you really need to look into this for them to do a scan, and it turned out it was already stage 4 pancreatic cancer by the time they found out. When I got back to take care of my father, he wore this MIT hat every day, and my mom told me he started wearing that because I kept on calling and he thought he was getting unfair treatment. So he felt if he wore this hat, the doctors would know that he had a PhD from MIT and that he should deserve proper medical treatment. So my sister found this doctor that was, I think, an immigrant herself. She was a woman of color, and my mom liked her so much. She made me and the doctor cry, and it was just really, really touching to see the empathy that this doctor had as an immigrant herself, watching my mom be in so much pain about losing my father, and me seeing my mom look so frail and old. It was very clear that this doctor had asked my mom to do scans that a doctor should have had done years ago. My mom's 78, and no other doctor had asked her to do any of these things or to look out for any of these things, and her concern was very real, something she was lacking. My mom said something that sort of chilled me to my bones. Was she said, I like this doctor so much more, my other doctor wouldn't even touch me. And so I don't think there's anything that one person can do about this unconscious bias that is definitely out there. But as a son or a daughter, what you can do is try your best to find a doctor that will have empathy for your parents. And even that, like, there's language barriers. I know my mom was saying some crazy stuff about why she shouldn't get certain scans. As they get older, try to prioritize being there with the doctor, and I think you'll get a completely different outcome. Well, I might have not been able to prevent my dad from dying from pancreatic cancer. If they had caught it in November instead of March, I'm convinced that that doctor made me lose at least more time with my dad. And so I'd love to be able to prevent that happening to anybody else or for my mother. So take my advice if you can and try to make sure your parents have that kind of care that they deserve.